Good morning, friends, and thank you so much for being here. As talked about, we're going to start this class on our backs. So first, just a couple moments to give yourself a place of arrival. Send your thoughts, send your intentions, send your energy through your body, just recognizing what this body feels like this morning. Offer a little bit of warmth and gratitude to this body that has woken up this morning. And you've been able to make your way to your mat. We all have different reasons, we all have different intentions. Giving yourself a moment to let your thoughts light on that intention. Why did you show up, and how can you transmute that to something that you can carry into the world? Take a very deep breath in, fill up. And a very exhale, let go. And then really quickly, reach your legs out in front of you a little bit further, maybe even like rocking from side to side, so you can get your legs a little bit longer, reach your arms up above your head. Good morning stretch. You can take your fingertips together, interlace them, maybe even take a little wiggle from side to side. And then we're going to take hand to toe pose. So starting with right leg, either with your strap or with your hands. Left leg can extend out, and if that feels a little bit too much so early on your left hip flexor especially, then simply bend your knee. Start to straighten the right leg, press up through your right heel, and then press down through both of your hips, your outer left hip and your outer right hip. Give yourself a little bit of compassion. It is early. And then you're going to release the tension of the right leg, turn your right toes out towards the right, and then open your leg up to the right. Maybe take right hand to your left hip, just to tack it down, pressing out through right heel, pressing down through left hip, and some action through your left toes. If you've got an extended left leg, can really help you out here. Release the tension of your right leg, take it back up to center, turn your toes to the left, drop your entire leg across your body to the left. Maintain the activity through your left leg. So if your knee is bent, you're just going to press into the mat and make sure that your knee is straight up and down and not coming out to the side. All right, take the leg back up to center. And then one more time, start to draw the leg back like your toes would tap behind your head. And then release the tension, extend your right leg out. Take just a moment to acknowledge how your right leg might feel like it's about half an inch longer than left. And then pull your left foot in, same but different. Again, right knee bent. If this is a bit bent on your right foot flexor. Start to draw your leg like it would tap behind your head, activity through your right foot. Release the tension. Turn your left toes out to the left, drop your entire leg out to the left. Right hip pressing down. In this position, I tend to feel a fairly deeper hip flexor stretch through the right leg. I don't know if that's the same for you or not. Especially as I press my right heel down, really activate the leg. Lessen the tension, leg up to center, turn your toes to the right, drop your entire leg over to the side. Take the leg back up to center, and then one more time, same way we began, pressing up through the left heel, drawing your leg closer to your left thigh, closer to your body. And again, having a bent knee here is absolutely fine. And then release the leg, set your strap to the side if that's what you use. One more moment on your back. See if you've noticed a temperature difference from just a few minutes ago. Pull your knees into your chest. First, rock a little bit from left to right, maybe pulling your knees a little bit closer in towards you. And then take your hands to the backs of your thighs. We're going to rock up and down, length of our spine, and see if you can get enough momentum to come all the way to a forward fold, maybe without the assistance of hands. And come all the way down to that forward fold. Keep feet about hips width distance apart. Inhale, lift up halfway, fingertips to shins or your mat. Look forward, press down and away with your feet. Exhale, forward fold. Take your hands to your hips, point your elbows up, roll your shoulders on your back, chin out. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come to your Tadasana pose. This time, bring your toes together, heels slightly apart. Inhale, sit low, Utkatasana, arms lift. Exhale, fold, hands come down, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, look out. Exhale, fold, step back to the top of plank pose. On an exhale, lower through chaturanga, two or towards your mat. Untuck toes. Inhale, your back bend, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot in slightly at an angle. Step your right foot forward. Warrior one. Lift up. We're going to stay here for a couple breaths. Right hip back, left forward. Press to the outer edge of your left foot. Wrap your pinkies toward each other. Sit a little bit more deeply into the right thigh. And then on an exhale, hands come down. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Vinyasa between, if you'd like to take it. And then step your right foot forward, an angle, step your left foot forward. Warrior one, rise up, press through both feet. Again, we'll be here for just a couple breaths. Low belly in, pull your floating ribs in, see if you can sit a little bit deeper. Left hip draws back. And then on an exhale, hands tap down. Step left foot back to meet right. Vinyasa if you choose. And then stay in your downward facing dog for the next several breaths. See if you can press more back towards your feet. So your feet are bearing more of the weight. Hiding your heels behind your toes. Shoulders away from your ears. Soft through the back of your neck. Bend your knees, look towards top of mat, and on an exhale, travel to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Sit low, Utkatasana, knees bend, arms lift. Come up to standing. Bring your palms into your heart center and alongside your body, Tadasana for 3 breaths. Separate your feet slightly. Inhale, come back to Utkatasana, this time with separated knees. Lift up to your toes. 3 times you're going to take a drinking bird. On an exhale, swing your arms back, palms down, lean forward, start to lift up your hips, maybe straighter legs. Come back to drinking bird, perhaps keeping your heels lifted. Exhale, take it forward. Low belly in, flat spine. One more time. Exhale, take it forward. Drop your heels, drop your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look forward. Exhale, fold, step back to top of plank pose. On an exhale, through chaturanga, or all the way down to your halfway to your mat. Untuck toes. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rise to toes, come to top of plank pose. Exhale, through chaturanga. Untuck toes, your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, rise to toes, come to top of plank. Exhale, lower through chaturanga. Untuck toes, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more like that, rise to your toes, top of plank pose. Chaturanga, untuck toes, inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 long breaths. On your next inhale, right leg lifts up and back. Bend your knee, open up through your hips. Stacking your hips best you can. Then re-straighten the right leg, tripod. Exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Drop the left knee down so we can take an Anjaneyasana pose. Arms lift up. Scissor your thighs together. This might mean that you don't dip as far, but you've got a lot more stability here. Take your right hand to your right hip crease, arc over to the right. And then on an exhale, complete that cycle. Your left elbow comes to the outside of your right thigh. Option to place your palms together to assist with the twist. Release, inhale, come to regular Anjaney with arms lifted. Exhale, plant your hands down to the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift up your back knee. Place more weight to your left palm. We're going to take a low lunge twist. Right fingertips lift up. Inner elbow of your left arm points towards the front of your mat. Spin all your toes away from you, coming into the IT band stretch on the razor edge of your left foot. Look up towards your right thumb, perhaps. And then, if and when you're ready, take a side plank, stacking right foot on top of your left, or maybe even to hover. Stay here and breathe. Lift your hips up very high. Maybe looking up toward that right thumb again. On your next exhale, take your right hand down to the mat. If you'd like, your right leg can stay lifted. Option to flow through a vinyasa here, maybe with lifted leg through chaturanga. Untuck place the tops of your feet down for the back bend. Make your way back to downward facing dog as you're ready. And then inhale, left leg comes up, bend your knee, open up through your hips. Re-straighten. On an exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your left thumb. Drop your right knee down, Anjayanasana. Again, left hip pulls back, right forward. So again, you probably won't go as deep, but you've got a lot of stability and strength here. It's very focused. Left bend to left hip crease, arc over to the left. And then on an exhale, complete that cycle all the way around. Right elbow to the outside of the thigh. Press your palms together if you'd like a little bit more resistance to help you with the twist. Look back down towards your left foot. Unravel, both hands to the mat. Take your right hand up just a little bit more. Tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee. Low lunge twist, left fingertips come up. And then spin all your toes away from you. IT band stretch. And then, if and when you'd like, vasistasana. Left leg is either stacked or hovering. Keep your hips lifted high. Spread the fingertips wide of the right hand. Then look down towards the mat. Left hand comes down, back to plank pose. Option to keep the left leg lifted through your chaturanga. Optional vinyasa and move whenever you're ready. Big inhale, big exhale. On your next inhale, right leg comes up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward right thumb. We're going to take some of those hip dips to modified pyramid. So if you'd like to use blocks here, you certainly can, or just come up onto your finger pads. Inhale, drop your hips, reach your heart forward, look up. Exhale, lift your hips up and back, straight or straighter, front leg, reach your chin towards your shin. Again, inhale, drop your hips, bend your back knee, give yourself lots of space, look up, exhale, take it back. And then one more time like that. Exhale and back, modified pyramid. So the reason this is modified is simply because the back heel is lifted rather than placed down to the mat at an angle. Continue to pull right hip back so that your hips are squared toward the front of your yoga mat. Lift your right toes towards your face, lift up halfway, and then reach your chin towards your shin again. All right, release the right foot down, rebend into the right knee. And then you're gonna pull your right heel to your bum, strike all the way up to a tripod dog. And then place the foot next to the other, downward facing dog, deep inhale. Full exhale. Next breath in, left leg comes up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward left thumb. Hip dips once again. Inhale, drop hips, reach your heart forward, let the back knee bend, look up. Exhale, take it up and back, straighter front leg. Inhale, drop it down, reach your heart forward. Exhale, up and back. Third time like that. Keep your left hip drawing back. Find that scissoring between your thighs, gives you lots of balance here. And then lift up halfway, pull your left toes upward toward the ceiling, so only your left heel is touching the mat. And then dive forward once again. You might find that the distance that you cover is not quite as far. All right, lift up halfway, release the left foot down, rebend into the left knee, pull your left heel to your bum, strike up all the way, tripod dog once again. Release the foot next to the other, downward facing dog. Start to walk your hands back to your feet so you're at a forward fold of the back of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, take your arms out and up, come up all the way to standing. Keep your arms up, interlace your fingers and release the index finger. You can keep your feet hips width distance, or you can bring toes together, heels slightly apart. Bump your hips over to the left, arc over to the right. Low belly in, get strong, and use the resistance of your right hand against your left to draw your arm away. So your hands are working away from your head. And maybe peek up underneath your left armpit. Inhale, come up. Switch out the interlacing of your fingertips, hips to right. Bump your torso over to the left. Again, seeing if you can find that deep stretch to the right side of your body, using your left arm to assist. Inhale, come back up to center. Change the interlacing of your fingertips again. Lift up, arc back towards your fingertips. Press through your feet. And then on an exhale, come all the way forward. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold once again. Walk your hands out to downward facing dog. And then we're going to check our work, check our distance. Inhale, rise to toes, come to top of plank pose. Exhale, lower through chaturanga or all the way down to your mat on top toes. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Very deep breath in. Very full exhale. Lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, and on an exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Step your left foot in slightly. We're going to move for that pyramid pose. So begin to straighten the front leg. So first, regular pyramid, right hip draws back. Maybe you can take your hand to your hip and just like notch it back. Look forward on an inhale, and then on an exhale, you're going to deepen. And depending on your stability and how you're feeling this morning, if you're looking for a more complicated pose, your left foot is going to move further to the right so that your heels are in line with each other. If that's not happening today, then move your left foot out to the left as much as you need. Inhale, lift up halfway. We're going to take a revolved triangle pose. So I'm going to be taking my hand to the inside of my left foot. However, you could take your left hand to the outside of your right foot as well. Start with your right hand to your hip, point your elbow up to the ceiling. Reach your heart forward, right hip draws back. Start to use your left hand to twist your torso upward, left rib cage lifts up. If and when you're ready, right fingertips up toward the ceiling. Keep your right hip drawing back. Keep pressing through the outer edge of your left foot. This will help with your stability. Don't forget about what's happening with your left arm. Lengthen through your spine. Okay, things are going to get fun. We talked about this before class started, so you know we're going with this sequence. Take a little bend into your right knee, and then start to straighten out your left heel so all toes and heels are pointing in the same direction. We're moving to a revolved half moon pose. Stand your left hand forward so it's at a diagonal from your right foot. Lean forward, left leg lifts up. Right fingertips are up, or you can take your hand to your hip. And then for fun, bend your left knee back, reach your right hand back to grasp your foot. Press your foot to hand, hand to foot. Find this bind. Keep pressing through your right foot. All right, when you're ready, release the bind back to the revolved revolved half moon. Take a little bend to your right knee, come up to standing, keep your left leg up. Bend to your right knee, garudasana. Left thigh crosses once or twice, and then left elbow comes underneath, garudasana arms, sit low. All right, for more fun here, reach your heart up and over, and then curl, bring your elbows down towards your knees. Keep pulling your knees both to the left. All right, start to lift your way up. Unravel your left leg first, then unravel your arms. Regular half moon, right fingertips come down to the mat, left fingertips come up. All right, bend through your right knee, step your left foot all the way back, warrior two, first one of the class. Make sure that your shoulders are square to the long side of your mat. Lots of space between shoulders and ears. All right, then straighten the front leg. Turn your toes in. Take your hands to your hips, elbows point behind you. Inhale, lift up your chest, look up. Exhale, hinge forward. And you can either keep your hands at your hips, elbows pointing up, or if you'd like, take your hands to the mat. And then that way you can also work on using your hands for leverage as you draw yourself forward. Just different choices here. Make sure that you've shifted the weight a bit into the balls of your feet rather than into the heels. Just breathe. If you have taken your hands to your hips, release them down to the mat. Well, inhale, lift up halfway. And you're going to walk yourself back to the right side of the mat, keeping it low. And we're going to move into a lizard pose. So take your right foot out to the side a bit, toes out at a slight angle. You can drop your left knee if you prefer. Look forward, and on an exhale, start to lower either to a block, just a little bit of bent elbows, or all the way down to your forearms. Breathe here. Press up back into your hands if you came onto a block or bent down. Set your block to the side. We're going to move to a full malasana pose. So find a little bit of momentum. On an exhale, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Toes out, heels in. And then begin to drop your hips down, elbows to the insides of your knees so your palms can press against each other. As always, if you find that your heels are rocking up here, you're already at the top of your mat, simply roll your mat and create a little roll that you can place underneath your heels. So you'll have to step forward a bit. So your toes will be off the mat, your heels will be on. Just breathe. When you're ready, release your hands down to the mat. Lift up your hips. Heel toe your feet back in until they're hips width distance apart. You're in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, offer your heart. And exhale, fold to honor yourself once again. Step your feet back till you're in a plank pose, or maybe you hop back to your chaturanga and take a vinyasa if you'd like. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a moment to check in. Has your dedication, your intention started to flit away? If so, just bring it back. When you're ready, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your left hand. Step your right foot in a bit and move toward pyramid pose. Left hip draws back in your leg, straight or straighter. Reach your heart forward. And then exhale, deepen your posture. Again, depending on how you're feeling this morning, you might choose to take your right foot laterally to the right, or you might have your heels actually in line with each other. Simply different expressions. All right, inhale, lift up halfway. We're going to move toward the revolved version of triangle. So again, this morning, I'm going to be placing my right hand to the inside of my foot. You're more than welcome to place your hand to the outside of your foot. It's a deeper expression. Left hand to left hip, knock back the hip, point your elbow up, start to rotate your right rib cage upward, and then give yourself success. Let fingertips come up. Just breathe. Okay, send your gaze down towards your left foot. Pivot onto the ball of your back, ball of your foot, and then align your heel with your toes. Bend into your left knee. We're moving to the revolved half moon. Take your right hand out. Best if you can have your wrist below your shoulder. Launch forward, left leg lifts. And then, if and when you're ready, bend the top leg, reach back for the foot, and then clasp the foot, press foot to hand to foot. And then release the bind. Take your left hand down to the mat. So you've squared off your hips, little bend to your left knee. We're going to come up to standing, maybe keeping the right foot lifted the whole time. Bend to left knee, garudasana. Cross the right thigh over left, tapping once or even twice, pressing the foot to the back of the calf. And then with your arms, right elbows on the bottom, tapping once or twice. Always an option, take your hands to your shoulders. All right, sit low. Lift up, create space. On an exhale, start to hinge forward, bringing your elbows in towards your knees, maybe even to tap. Keep moving your knees toward the right. Then start to lift back up. Unravel your legs first. Then unravel your arms. Left hand comes down. Ardha chandrasana. Right hand is lifted, left hand is down. You've got this. Lots of length. Bend into your left knee. Step your right foot all the way back. Warrior two. First time on this side. Get low. Maybe you need to take some adjustments. It's an interesting way to approach the posture. Give yourself all the love you need. Give yourself space to make adjustments. Nothing is static, nothing is forever. Straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes in, keeping your arms out wide. Inhale, lift up, look up. Exhale, hinge your way forward. And then drop your hands down to the mat when you're ready. Inhale, lift up halfway again. Exhale, deepen. Remembering to shift your weight a little bit towards you. And you could always walk your hands back so that you can start to use the resistance of your hands against the mat to assist your forward fold here. Inhale, lift up halfway. Keep it low. You're gonna pivot towards the front of your mat again to this low lunge, moving to a lizard pose. Your left foot is already to the outside. Widen it maybe a little bit more. Toes are out, heels slightly in. And then take the same approach that you took last time, whether your back knee was down or up. Reach your heart forward, inhale. Exhale, deepen, either bending your elbows, coming to a block, or coming to your forearms. As you're ready, start to lift your way back up. And we're going to move to malasana pose once again. So tiny bit of momentum. Give yourself some space. And then on an exhale, right foot comes outside of your right hand. Heels, toes out, heels in. Drop your hips for your malasana pose. Bringing your thumbs in towards your heart center. Broadness through your collarbones. Softness to the back of your neck, your jaw, your forehead. Okay, fun stuff here. This is where we play with crow pose. So notice if you've got enough room and knowing what's coming. If hands or headstand rather is in your practice, just make sure that you've got lots of space and you're in a safe place and that your approach is sound. So for me, I'm going to lift up my hips. I'm going to just scooch back just a bit. So from here, from your crow, from your malasana, that is, we're going to move to our crow pose. So hands down to the mat, fingertips spread wide, elbows back, lift up. I like to lift up on my toes. So I've got lots and lots of space for my hips and for my knees to come up. You could always stand on a block here and give yourself a little bit of extra lift. So bring your knees up as high as you can into your armpits. Neck is long. Lean forward, let your hands catch your weight, lift up your feet one at a time, toes to touch. And then, as we were playing with the beginning class, if you want to come forward to a headstand prep, you're going to elbows continue to point back. You're going to drop onto your head. All right, so maybe this is where you come. You've still got your toes together, your knees to the backs of your arm. Fingertips still spread wide. You've got a really strong tripod here. Or maybe you bring your knees together and start to extend your feet up to the ceiling for your tripod headstand. Keep your core strong. Point through your toes. Elbows continue to point back. And then to take the reverse path. Bring your knees back in. Take your knees towards the backs of your arms. Come into your crow. On an exhale, lift up. And then pop back to malasana pose. Feel free to try it again. Elbows point back. Very good. Keep your heels up towards your bum. This will help the transition down. Yes, ma'am. You've got this, Emily. Keep everything moving to midline. How you guys feeling? Awesome. So make your way back to that malasana pose. And then hands to the mat, lift up your heels. Walk your feet to their hips with distance, and your heels are in line with your toes. Take a ragdoll pose. So let everything get soft. Maybe take your hands to your elbows, to your low back. Maybe a sway feels right, or maybe stillness is what serves you best. And then release your hands back down to the mat. Make your way to a downward facing dog. Find lots of length here. And then bend your knees, look towards your hands. Just drop to your knees, and you're going to come to sit on your bum. I'm going to take some seated twists here. So extend your left leg out, bend your right knee. And you can place your foot to the inside of your knee. Or if you want, since I'm doing so much twisty stuff, you might even choose to take your foot to the outside of your left knee. Flex your left foot. Lean back, right hand behind you. Inhale, left fingertips are up. Twist toward the right. And either wrap your arm around your knee or take your elbow to the outside of your thigh. Share the weight equally between your hips as you begin your twist activity through your left toes. Send your gaze back to the front. Unravel, take a counter twist, and all the way over, drop your head. Press your way back up, extend your right leg, bend your left knee, and then place your foot to the inside or the outside. I encourage you to take the same version that you did on this side before. Left hand behind you, fingertips away, lean back, inhale. Create space, right arm is lifted, exhale to twist and either draw in your knee or elbow to the outside. Send your gaze back to the front. Unravel, take a counter twist over to the right. Lift your way back up, uncross your legs. Scoot your hips forward and then come all the way down onto your back. Figure 4 across your right ankle over your left thigh. Draw your left thigh in close to you and release your fingers behind your left thigh or behind your shin. We'll be here for just a few breaths. Flex to the right foot. Draw your tailbone down toward the mat so you can reach your right knee forward. A little more intense. Release the interlacing of your fingers. Drop the foot, uncross. Cross left ankle over right thigh. And then draw in close to you. Interlace fingertips, maybe the opposite way. Again, just here for a few breaths. And then release the clasp. Release your foot down. Uncross, step your left foot down. We're going to take one bridge pose here. So walk your feet in a little bit closer, bring your arms alongside your body. Make sure that your shoulder blades are more flat so you've got lots of space through your chest. Press through your feet, wave your spine up, lift up. Option to keep your hands here or roll over onto one shoulder and then the other and interlace your fingers. Little flexion to your bum, keeping your low back safe. Just breathe. If you came onto that into your shoulders, release the interlacing of your fingers. Come back onto your back and then slowly wave your spine down, maybe lifting up your heels to give yourself even more space. Separate your feet out a little bit wider from each other. Drop both knees over to the right. Knees up towards the ceiling, drop both knees over to the left. Take your legs back up to the ceiling, pull both knees into your chest, wrapping your hands around your shins, giving yourself an embrace. Again, recognizing everything that your body has done for you, thanking it for waking you up this morning, and for making the approach to your mat, making the approach and the decision to move into this journey, to continue forward. And the last posture in this class is Shavasana. If there's any other posture you need, movement, adjustments, changes to your environment, please make those. And then transition yourself to Shavasana posture. Attempting to remove the muscle activity that you've been creating. Becoming aware of your body softening and creating stillness. Invite a deeper breath in and release. Starting to wake up your body. Perhaps take a similar stretch as you did at the beginning of this class, reaching your legs and toes out in front of you, your arms up above your head. And then rolling over onto your right side, bring your knees in close to you. Drop your left hand to the mat. Drop your chest and your heart down towards the mat and press your way up. Come to a seated posture for a brief reflection and meditation. On an inhale, bring your arms out and up, palms press above you, send your chin up. And on an exhale, take your thumb to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, to your lips for clarity of speech, to your heart for clarity of action, and then bow your head to your heart, recognizing that we do hard things. You recognize that failure may happen, and it's fine. You just keep going. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and helping me deepen my own. In the name of the highest good, namaste.